Okay, Lenny, first of all, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. This time, I'm Rob from El Culto heavy metal website here in Argentina. You will be visiting us real soon.
Yes.
Uh, okay, first of all, if you want, please, I would like to ask you about the current activity for Sanctuary. You are entering into a new era with Joseph Michael on vocals and recently released new material after almost 10 years. How would you describe Sanctuary at this point of the band history?
Well, I mean, we're definitely, making progress and moving forward, and we're happy about the live show and what we can bring fans and everything. It's we're always trying to progress, and we're looking forward to coming down there, playing a lot of old songs for everybody, and we're glad that we can do that as well. And we are currently working on new music as well, and it's turning out well. And I think we are going to have a record out in the first couple of months of 2027. Hopefully that answered most of that.
Yeah, great news about the new record. Talking about that, you had a new song, "Not of the Living." It is a really really old school kind of song, which I really like, really enjoy. What was the first thing you wanted to recapture, or maybe let's say taking back from the old times? When you started composing this new song, this new music?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, a lot of times it just kind of happens organically. So we don't really think about it that much, but it's one of those things where we write a lot of riffs. We write riffs and we kind of hang on to them, and then we work them as ideas, and then as time goes on, things fit in. You know what I mean? And that sometimes that's why things take time, because you don't necessarily have the thing that finishes or fits into the song until it's time. But yeah, we don't really think about it too much until the final stages, fixing, changing, making it better type of stuff. But
All right. Okay. In your case, 1986, the band started. You're a founding member. Do you feel that the history of Sanctuary is a responsibility that you have to keep, that you have to safeguard, let's say, or something like that that you have to preserve due to being the founding member for the band?
yeah, I mean, we we definitely have in our view
Mhm.
keeping the legacy of the band, and
Okay.
that's important to us. I mean, I always say that I'm definitely the defender of the faith for Sanctuary and keeping it. Um, there's a certain legacy that we feel like there are parameters that we're going to work within. You know what I mean? So you can always there's certain things you could expect when you hear a Sanctuary, even new Sanctuary, and that's something that will always keep in mind.
Good answer. Uh, Worrell Dane was a fundamental part of Sanctuary identity. How do you manage to keep that legacy alive without making the current band converting into some kind of recreation of what it was in the past?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, yeah, I kind of see what you're saying because I mean, it's difficult to do that because I mean, obviously, a lot of people want to hear, material from the first three records and everything, which is we love doing. So I mean, that's the way honor him, but obviously at the same time, we'll be releasing new music, to kind of forward the band in the direction that we want to go as well, and kind of keep it fresh as well.
All right. I'm not going to be very original with the next question because I think you have received these kind of questions really, really often. Sanctuary is original from Seattle. Seattle to the world means grunge music. How
Uh-huh.
was it to be a thrash metal or power thrash metal band with already your music already recorded, but then the grunge music explodes everywhere. How was it to keep it with your style, with your music, in a city that was synonymous of grunge music?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that I remember when Nirvana Nevermind came out was right around the time that was getting close to the time that the band broke up. So we had already, Mirror Black was released, and we were already done with the touring cycle and all that. And that was right around the time where Jeff Loomis joined Sanctuary for the first time. And right around that time where grunge started to take off, Sanctuary was kind of breaking up anyway. So it probably affected Nevermore more than it did us because I was kind of out of it for a while at that point. But yeah, it was I mean it was definitely a different time. I didn't mind a lot of that stuff. Some of it I liked Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, and Nirvana was okay. But yeah. It definitely affected a lot of bands, and I'm sure that hard to it was probably harder to get gigs back then as well. Except for, the thing that probably saved a lot of American metal bands is the fact that they could always go to Europe. No matter what, even during those times, I'm sure that, traveling to Europe, the metal fans over there are diehard, and, probably same as, Argentina and Brazil and everywhere. I mean, they love their metal, and that's,
We are,
that's
mhm,
great.
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, we are still safe places for metal, so you are really welcome here. You were produced by Dave Mustaine in your early days, correct? How was
Yeah.
it? How did it came that relationship with him?
Um, Well, it's a interesting story. So we were at a point where we were trying to kind of move farther and get farther. We were, just a band that was in Seattle with other bands, and we weren't, not a whole lot was going on. And we had a demo of all of our songs. It was most of the songs on Refuge Denied that, we just went into the studio and paid for it ourselves. And one day we were at rehearsal, and I told the guys, I said, "Hey, I'm going to take this tape." And I know this sounds ridiculous, but this actually happened. I said, "I'm going to take this tape. I'm going to go down to a show. King Diamond and Megadeth are playing, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to find Dave Mustaine, and I'm going to play this for him." I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Well, it didn't happen that way. I tried, but it didn't happen that way. But when I left that show that night, I was, I couldn't get backstage, but I walked to the back of the club that they were playing. They're actually playing at the Moore Theater in Seattle. I walked to the back with my friends. I had two girls and my best friend with me. And when we were walking around back there, we heard one of the roadies talking about where Dave Mustaine was staying, where the band Megadeth was staying. So we got in our car, we drove to the hotel, and we walked every floor of that hotel until we heard a loud room that was having a good time. And the door was open. I mean, of all things, the door was open. So we had two girls with us. We pushed the door open a little bit. We had the two girls going first. It was just the guys in Megadeth in there. That was it. And they were distracted by the two girls. And Dave Mustaine was sitting over on a bed, and he was drinking a bottle of Cabassier. And he said, he saw me and he said, "Hey, come here. and I thought he was going to throw me out. And he was really cool. And we just started talking. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, we were just looking for you guys, and we wanted to talk to you and hang out." And he was kind of like, whatever. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to drink, Cavassier?" And I never had Cavassier in my life. It was really good. And so we sat and talked, and I started talking to him about his guitars and stuff. And he was I was really nervous because I had heard he was, he had a bit of a temper and an attitude, but he was really cool to us. And once the night started to wrap up, I said, "Hey man, we've got some stuff down in the car, you want to come down and we can give you some party favors or whatever. And we've got some alcohol, whatever. You come on down, we'll give it to you." And I said, "I got this tape. I want you to listen to it." He's like, "You set me up. I'll come on down." And he came down to the car and listened to most of all the songs on Refuge Denied, and he really liked it. And he had me play the tape 2 times, and I knew at that time that he must have really liked it. And then he gave me his phone number. And when that was back before cell phones, so I didn't know if it was a real number. I thought it was a fake number. So I went home and I called it, and sure enough, it was his answering machine. He was on tour, but it was his answering machine, and it was Dave Mustaine that answered the phone. So I was like, wow, he must really like it. And a couple I called him back a couple of weeks later when he was home, and then he said he really liked the tape. He had listened to it a bunch of times when he was on tour, and he wanted to produce, and that's how it happened.
So
I, I still I still can't believe it.
it's a movie-alike story. It can be
Yes,
a really nice plot for a movie.
yes.
Uh, Without taking you more of your time, I just wanted to ask you, because you will be playing here in Argentina, August 29 in El Teatrito in Buenos Aires, Argentina. What can you tell to your Argentinian fans here that are really expecting for Sanctuary? What can they expect for this upcoming show?
Well, we're really excited to play the show. We're gonna be playing a lot of stuff from Refuge Denied, Mirror Black, and that's gonna be the majority of it. We're gonna play 3 songs from The Year the Sun Died and a new song as well. We're really looking forward to seeing everybody in Argentina. We've heard a lot of great things, and we can't wait. We can't wait to finally get down there and party with the passionate fans down there.
You will be really welcome here. So I hope you will be enjoying your time here in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. Okay, thank you so much for this interview, Lenny. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Have a
Thank you.
nice evening, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and come on and say hello when you're at the show.
I will, for sure. I will be at the front line for sure. I will be the first in line.
Okay,
Because
awesome, great.
I'm a really fan of thrash metal, and you are a really good fan of thrash metal. So I will be there for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank
Th-
you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.